here with some momentum, and that created some hope. And so now there's some expectations, and that's been totally new for everyone on this team, and he's pretty pleased with how they've navigated it so far.
Well, he has to be pleased. Although they have not shot the ball well early on in the season, they've played pretty good defense, and they've won 5 games in a row against some pretty good competition. Their last win against Rutgers, and again, a young backcourt still, but obviously they have a lot of talent. They're going to be tested against the #1 team in the nation tonight on the road.
Louisville starts with it. They are wearing these gray uniforms, rather, the first time they have ever broken out the grays.
I tell you what, if they don't win tonight, Chris Mack, it will be their last time that they wear those uniforms.
Nice find by Perry to Stephen Enoch.
That is a beautiful play to open up the game. Unselfish play, and Perry, can't say enough about how well he's playing right now. 4th in the ACC, close to 6 assists per game. That's a beautiful dime.
Great pass on the other end. Xavier Johnson underneath to Eric Hamilton, playing well recently.
And Johnson right behind in the assist count. Right now, he's 6th in the ACC with assists a game. And I said at the top, that's going to be key for him. Limit the turnovers, and that limits the transition opportunities for this Louisville team where they excel.
Louisville gets into its offense now. It is Tony all over Wara. Doesn't get a touch, but Stephen Enoch connects, and he's got the first 5 for the Cardinals.
With no hesitation whatsoever, and again, the unselfish play of this team, that's why they are so difficult to match up against. If you help off one guy, they will find somebody else who's open. Enoch that time with the beautiful jumper.
And then at this end of the floor, Chris Mack's so concerned about the downhill driving from guys like Trey McGowan's. Shot clock at 5 for Johnson. He rises and answers.
Last season, all ACC freshman team, Xavier Johnson, one of the better guards in the ACC, and if he can knock down jumpers, he is so quick, so difficult to keep out of the lane.
How about the response from Ryan McMahon, one of the best shooters in the entire country?
Well, Jeff Capel not happy. We saw him today in shoot-around, telling guys he will shoot from the logo. So if anywhere across half court, you need to pick him up. That time, hand down, he made him pay.
Good hands by Enoch, but Johnson recovered it. On the baseline drive. Kicked away. Here's Jordan Wara. Doesn't get the bounce. Sutton the offensive rebound. A battle on the boards by Sutton. And it's coming back with Pitt as Sutton gets tagged with the foul.
When we talked with Jeff Capel this afternoon, he talked about in transition, we must get back right here. A break for Pitt. Fortunate not to give up an offensive rebound, but he said, look, if we have turnovers, we need all 5 guys getting back. Our transition defense in this game is a must against a very good Louisville team.
And he was worried in particular, as a lot of coaches are, about live ball turnovers. And that's what that was, late shot clock. Ryan Murphy, very good shooter for the Panthers, junior college transfer.
Tony on Wara. We talked about that assignment. Him back in the starting lineup.
Perry skipped it for Sutton. And he's got one from beyond the arc.
And that's key because Tony, these Tony back in the starting lineup, he's not helping off Wara. So they're going with the gamble of anybody but Jordan Wara is going to beat us. Right now, they're doing an excellent job.
Johnson gets 2 more, and he has 5 of the 7 for the Panthers. Ryan McMahon threw it away, not on the same page with Darius Perry. It's a 4-point edge for #1 Louisville at home. They have already knocked down 3 triples from beyond the arc. Sutton, Enoch, and McMahon's talking about the family getting moved out of his dorm in Durham. And Jason's deciding where to go at the time.
Yeah, and he said, look, you know, we were both North Carolina fans growing up, and, you know, obviously he was heavily recruited, one of the top recruits coming out, and they decided, and his dad felt as well, that it was probably the best situation for him to go to North Carolina. But he said, look, just having him on my staff, having my brother, somebody obviously that I've grown up with, love, and I know I can trust. It's just been an unbelievable ride to share this experience with him.
Well, coming out of the timeout, his team's got 2. It was Trey McGowan's off the second effort from Adis Toney. And so Pitt within 2 in these first 5 minutes. And Toney's been physical so far with Jordan Wara.
And he's done a nice job denying him the ball.
Great find underneath. Kick back out for Sutton. And the rebound to Terrell Brown, the big off the bench. Toney's running. Wara with the block. Staring down Toney at the end of it. McMahon transition 3. Rebound Toney.
Already heating up, Toney and Wara having some words. Wara with the chase down block, breaking up a short, uncontested layup.
Xavier Johnson in the mid-range with 2 more, and he's up to 7.
Controlling the pace, the tempo, and Jeff Capel talked about it. Limiting the runs that Louisville is known for, quieting the crowd. That's what Pitt is doing early.
How about the confidence from Darius Perry to step right into it? Just his 5th made 3 of the season.
Now, although he struggled shooting 25% coming into this game from beyond the arc, his mechanics, follow-through and form is not the issue, and that's a great sign if you're Louisville.
Johnson takes the contact and will shoot a pair. How about this block?
And that's the area of his game, the reason why he came back, thought about going into the NBA last season, but he knew he needed to improve that part of his game right there. Defensive effort, that is a big-time chase-down block.
And we know he doesn't shy away from the loudness surrounding his game some. Remember the comments after the win over Michigan on Tuesday. Jordan Wara said, we had heard that they wanted some smoke. They got some smoke, and they got smoked in the game here.
It's a competitive game. It's a competitive league, and he knows he has a big bullseye on his back. He is getting all the attention. Obviously, he is a guy that's right now in the discussion and for player of the year, not just in the ACC, but in college basketball. So every night he is going to get the other team's best shot on defense, and he has embraced that. And I think these scouts are taking notice of that as well, too.
Those were 2 big misses at the line from Xavier Johnson, who now gets tagged for his first foul. McGowan sticks with McMahon around the ball screen. And a turnover by the Cardinals, their 2nd.
A nice job of pressuring the ball that time by McGowan's. And well, that's the area, speaking with Jeff Capel, he said, look, I've been very pleased with how we have played defense. Statistically, they have put up some really good numbers. And he said, look, that's a big reason why we have ran off 5 games in a row. We haven't scored the ball or shot the ball particularly well, but our defense has been solid.
And they may mix it up defensively here today as well. They were working on some different defensive looks during shoot-around. McGowan's trying to get going. That rolls off. Remember, he had 33 in an overtime win the first time of the 2 meetings between these teams last year. Sutton is matched up with Justin Champagnie. Back out for Fresh Kimball. And he joins the party from deep. That is 5 main threes for the Cardinals. Johnson couldn't get it past Sutton. Johnson's in attack mode and an offensive foul.
Well, on the other side, Chris Mack this afternoon in shoot-around, he said, look, we have to put bodies in front of this backcourt. They are clearly emphasizing that right here. Loose ball, and then they have bodies in front of these guards. That time they came up with the charge, and because they're so aggressive, McGowan's, you talk about how he wants to get in the lane, Xavier Johnson, they just want 4 guys in the lane, forcing those guys to shoot outside jumpers.
Remember, the defense had done a pretty good job on Xavier Simpson of Michigan as well. Malik Williams with great patience.
That's a great slip of the screen that time by Malik Williams. Came over, looked like he was going to set a ball screen, and then just slipped it.
Eric Hamilton spinning on Williams. Coughs it up. Murphy to the loose ball. Shot clock winding down. Johnson's got to realize it. Attacking Kimball. And a shot clock violation.
Basketball, but Cole Anthony, one of the most talented freshmen in college right now, and he's not only going to be in contention for freshman of the year in ACC, but player of the year in the ACC. Just a fantastic talent on display.
And both teams in that one dealing with key injuries. Braxton Key and Armando Bacot coming off the injury in the midweek. One of the keys for Jeff Capel tonight, withstand runs. You see Louisville's on an 8-0 spurt these last 3 minutes. Malik Williams steps out. Another 3. That is 6 of them from 6 different Cardinals.
And many of those have been their bigs. Enoch Williams, they will step out on skip passes and knock down threes, and that's why, again, they are the clear #1. We talked about it, 4 players in double digits, but they shoot close to 40% from beyond the arc. They're just so difficult to match up against.
Shot clock winding down. Hamilton scores over the top of Wara. Here's Sam Williamson, the freshman. Offensive foul. And now a couple of players getting mixed up at the end of it. Malik Williams trying to push his way out of the pile.
Well, they're mid-season form right now already in conference play. And
let's have another look. Eric Hamilton loves to take charges.
Yeah, it looked like he felt like he was stepping over him. Couple of words exchanged, pleasantries, and you would expect nothing less, though, in a conference game. These teams familiar with each other, and they know the stakes right here. Pitt, they are trying to pull off the upset on the road against the #1 team in the country.
One thing both coaches talked about today at their respective shoot-arounds, the physicality that always seems to follow these matchups. Hamilton on the face-up. Much needed buckets from him. The last couple possessions for Pitt.
Yeah, first one, take the hit, finish that time. Nice setup. Little pick, pop out, and that's a nice touch for the big fella.
He's the 24-year-old grad transfer big, now playing at his 3rd school. Starting to figure things out after the West Virginia game. That was a loss for Pitt in the backyard brawl. And a kick. It appeared along the baseline, perhaps. Jeff Capel just said he was out of bounds, if we're reading lips accurately.
And Teddy Valentine is saying it's his fault. So just got word, it was an inadvertent whistle. My bad, play on.
Shot clock winding down on Louisville. Williams in the post. And the rebound, Champagny.
Well, the one area early on, Pitt's done a nice job on the defensive glass.
Hamilton underneath, walked with it. Yeah, you had said it right off the top. Rebounding going to be a key for Pitt.
It is, and you want to keep them off the offensive glass, but I think the other number, turnovers. They've limited the turnovers. Now, look, it's early on in this game, but you want to limit the transition opportunities off turnovers against Louisville.
Perry pulls up. Wanted another long two, and there's another rebound for Eric Hamilton. Johnson. Rebound, Wara. Taking it 1-on-3, and Wara scores.
That's the problem, and that was the concern that Jeff Capel had. Misses. They are very good in transition. If you're not balanced, they will make you pay. That time, Wara down the lane for an uncontested layup.
Murphy couldn't get by Malik Williams. Nine-point edge for Louisville. That one is kicked and stays with the Cards. Chris Mack with that big number 1 next to his team's name. Talked about it right off the top. A Pitt team that only 2 times in program history has defeated the AP number 1 team, and both of those came 10 years ago within a 1-month span of one another. A whistle before the shot and a foul on Eric Hamilton in the post.
Well, Hamilton's need to do a better job getting Enoch out of the paint. That time, Enoch had great position, almost in that restricted area, and had no choice but to foul. Right now, Enoch trying to get position before the ball's even handed to Perry to be inbounded, but he's got to do a better job. Now, Hamilton's giving him some nice minutes, but Enoch, he cannot allow him to get that deep in the post.
You said to Jeff Capel today from your playing days that physical team that you always matched up against was Georgetown.
Yeah, that was the team. They were brutal, but in this game right here, early on, Pitt has done a nice job limiting any offensive rebounds for Louisville.
Choppy last few minutes here from the KFC Yum Center. Malcolm Huckabee, Mike Monaco, our ACC network crew with you. And a push off on Perry.
Well, that's a nice job by McGowan, sliding his feet. Yeah, right in front of the ref. That's a good call. Extended that arm, and that's all set up by excellent footwork by McGowan, sliding his feet, getting in front of Perry.
Remember, 2 meetings between these teams last year, and the first one was the one that was officiated very tight. A lot of fouls in that game. That was what the coaches were saying to us today. Murphy working on McMahon. Spins out. McMahon the rebound.
That's a great individual effort by McMahon. Again, man-to-man defense, no help came. Got the miss and then got the rebound. And Pitt, not a good foul right there. Just get back on D.
Chris Mack has talked about Ryan McMahon, the 5th-year senior from Sarasota, Florida, and he said there's not a deficiency in his game now. So even if the shot's not falling, they feel like they've got to have him out on the floor.
Well, he thinks the biggest improvement has been defensively, just as we saw in that last possession. We know he can shoot the ball. Now teams that want to try to isolate him, he has become a much better defender as well.
Drive and kick for Perry. Offensive rebound, Williamson. Now the freshman rises and hits. Those 7 threes for Louisville from 7 different players. Johnson with 5. Driving on Perry. Gets a roll.
That's a big bucket for Pitt to quiet this crowd, and that could be their best offense right there. Let him get isolated either at the top, put him in ball screen situations, and then play off of him. And then defensively, they're going to have to start contesting shots, because right now, Louisville on fire from beyond the arc.
Perry turns it over. Murphy, good shooter, has not let it fly from deep yet. And he's now 0 of 4.
I feel like he's passed up a couple of jumpers.
Great hands by McGowens. That's what he does, and he hammers it home. Quick timeout for Jeff Capel as his Panthers get within 8.
Wow, that's 8.
So McGowan's coast to coast on one end. Jordan Wara doing some of the same. It's only 2 so far, but his #1 ranked Louisville's all about him today. It was after the West Virginia game, a loss for the Panthers, and Jeff Capel had got on his team pretty good down the stretch there, and Xavier Johnson texted Capel after the game. He said, hey, can we meet tomorrow? And Jeff Capel said, no, let's meet right now. And Xavier Johnson said, I don't really know what to do after last year and not getting off to the start that he wanted. He had tears in his eyes, and they chatted it out right then and there.
Yeah, and he said, look, I felt he's relaxed in these last 5 games as we see a look at another turnover by Louisville. And he said, look, he put all this pressure on himself, a guy that flirted with going to the NBA. And he said, look, just relax. You're playing, you're thinking too much, just go out there and relax. And he has responded and played very well for Pitt the last 5 games.
And Pitt now within 6 after 2 from Terrell Brown. Justin Champagnie had tipped it to him.
And I like the change of D.
Oregon at the shot blocker, Brown.
Pitt changed it up, went to a little 3-2 matchup zone, and Jeff Capel said, look, we're going to try to give them different looks in this game. Do some man, we might junk it up a little bit.
Gowan's way off the mark.
Jeff Capel not happy with that shot and felt it was early in the shot clock, a contested pull-up jumper, and not a good offensive possession, but they continue to do a nice job defensively. Now they extend their pressure, little 2-2-1. Now they'll fall back into a matchup zone.
Enoch. Rebound, Brown. Pitt messed around with a box and 1 and triangle and 2 even at shoot-around today. Tony couldn't save it. Turnover number 4 for Pitt.
And that's been the problem area. Speaking with Jeff Capel, he said, look, when we don't turn the ball over, we can play with anybody. But you look at coming into this game, they had 108 assists and 120 turnovers. That ratio needs to change and flip-flop. That is their one Achilles heel.
Wara. He's got a 3 as well. 8 for Louisville, 8 different players.
And that's the problem with matching up against them. They're more than just Jordan Wara. Yes, again, he is going to be a guy that's going to play for a paycheck, but you have to pick your poison, and when they're shooting it like this, it's very difficult to play zone.
McGowan's going against McMahon, and it stays with Pitt with 10 on the shot clock on the other.
They're shooting the ball. Look at the numbers. They don't lie. 8 different players for Louisville have made a 3 in this game. That is so impressive.
And if you're a Pitt fan, you're wondering, hey, has this been the norm for the Cardinals so far? I mean, yeah, they've been a good 3-point shooting team. 39% from beyond the arc so far this year. 3rd best in the ACC. Shot clock winding down on Xavier Johnson. He hangs but cannot hit. Brown, and a shot clock violation.
Well, despite them knocking down all the 3s, if you're Pitt, you have to feel pretty good about yourself. You're only trailing by 9 in this game, and they've done a nice job, I think. Credit Jeff Capel switching up the defense against Louisville.
Tony matched up with Wara, and Wara with another one.
Well, there's no defense for that right there. That's just a big-time move by one of the best players in college basketball right now. And I think you have to force him, though, back to his left. Can't let him get to his right, because he can either keep going to the basket or pull up like he did on that last play.
McGowan's left it short, but an offensive rebound. Terrell Brown. And he walks with it. Turnover number 5 for Pitt.
Well, he was looking for somebody to throw the ball out to, and credit Louisville. They denied everybody out on the perimeter and forced him into a turnover, and excellent job of denial that time by everybody out there for Louisville.
Louisville has now kept Pitt without points for the last roughly 3 minutes. Fresh Kimball. Back iron, batted around, and it stays at this end. Moore's starting to get going. He's got 7. On it, 3 more. Jeff Capel said he's the best scorer in our league, and we've been pretty good defensively, but I don't know that we've played someone as hungry offensively as him.
Well, he hits tough contested shots, and that's a sign of a great player. A guy that, no matter how good the D is, sometimes he's just going to make a better play on offense.
Moore was big on the boards against Michigan as well. He had a dozen in that game. Williams. Rebound, Tony. And Pitt trimmed this in these final 2 minutes of the first half. The skip for Champagny. Rebound, Williams.
Well, that's a pretty good look that time by Champagny. A nice cross-court pass, and again, the woes from beyond the arc for Pitt. If you're going to pull off an upset, you're going to have to get your number up above 30% from beyond the arc.
McMahon, his second 3. Nine Louisville threes, and Pitt coming up on 5 minutes without points. Tony drives, took some contact. And in this final minute, a foul right on the baseline.
Well, this right here is what McMahon does so well. Move without the ball, no communication. And that time he made them pay. Moves so well without the ball. He has a quick release. And if there's no communication between the bigs and the guards, when he comes back off that little flare screen, he will make you pay. And that's something that Jeff Capel was very concerned about, how they defend him, in particular coming off any flares or down screens.
Foul called as Johnson tried to snake the hedge.
A nice little split right here. Williams jumps out hard, but Xavier Johnson, because he's so quick, so shifty with the ball, he has the ability to split any double teams.
Gave it to Fresh Kimball. Johnson. Offensive foul.
Jeff Capel wants them to check and see if he was in the restricted area. Well, he was He was definitely outside the restricted area. Not sure if he was there a little late, but definitely was outside the restricted area. And that's something Coach Mack and staff talked about this afternoon in shoot-around, taking charges. He knew, look, Xavier Johnson is a handful to keep out of the lane, but we need to have bodies in front of him. That time, nice job executing that game plan, coming up with a charge.
Because of it, it's 2 fouls now on Xavier Johnson. It's been an 8-0 run the last 3.5 minutes for Louisville. 6-second difference between game and shot clocks. Kimball got free. Offensive foul at this end. And Hamilton is not afraid to just plant himself there and take charges.
And he's given them some nice minutes. Yes, the 6 points that he has in this game are excellent, but these plays right here have been big. He's been active defensively. He's been active on the defensive and offensive glass. He has given them a nice boost and some good minutes in this first half for Pitt.
It doesn't look fun throwing your body around like that. Jeff Capel said to us, he seeks the contact. He loves it.
Yeah, that's a rare person in this day and age, willing to give up. But you need guys like that, those X-factor guys willing to do all a little dirty work.
McMahon ripped it away from Murphy. Good at the go. Louisville held Pitt without points for the final 5:35 of the first half. 14-point lead for #1 Louisville. We'll be back with our ACC Network halftime report after these messages.
The action, and it was a 3-point shooting contest for all of the players for Louisville in that first half.
Filling it up from beyond the arc, 9 of 17. They had 8 different players make at least one.
And that was the story of the first half. Pitt's inability to defend the 3-point line. Other than that, they've done a pretty good job controlling the defensive glass, but there weren't many misses in that last 5 to 10 minutes of the first half. They just put on a clinic, moving the ball, another wide open 3, and they showed why they are so difficult to match up against. Unselfish, but I've yet to see a stat like that where you have 8 different players make a 3-pointer in the first half.
You said not many misses. There were plenty of misses in that last 5.5-minute stretch for Pitt headed into halftime, and you look now at the last 3 halves for Louisville defensively. They've given up 64 points if you include the Michigan full game and the first half here tonight.
We talked about this in terms of who's the clear #1 in college basketball. They showed against Michigan that they can beat you with their defense. A dominant performance. They held Michigan to 43 points. But offensively, their balance is what makes them a special team. If you double up on Wara, he'll pass the ball, and you got other guys on the perimeter that are knocking down shots. It's really been impressive to watch them operate early on in the season.
Xavier Johnson has been the key guy for Pitt. 9 of the 21 for the Panthers, trying to solve things offensively. Pitt at 7-2, 1-0 so far in the ACC, going up against #1 and undefeated Louisville. Justin Champagnie. Scoreless the other day, and a bucket at the rim on the second effort. It's a good start to half #2 for the Panthers.
Tony on the offensive glass, and that's a nice job of working the offensive glass off the miss. I think now in the second half for Pitt, you have to adjust. You have to get out on the 3-point shooters.
See the balance for the Cardinals. There's Jordan Wara. Jeff Capel wanted to travel.
Yeah, it looked like he got away with a travel. Referees no call, and easy bucket for Wara.
Jeff Capel yelled out at his team today at shoot-around. When you're guarding him, when you're guarding Jordan Wara, you cannot relax.
I also think you need to force him to his left hand. He is yet to have to put the ball in his left hand in this game as we take a look at Eric Hamilton. He has been impressive in that first half, defensively solid. Offensively, though, he's shown some nice touch. That's a nice little pull-up jumper, mid-range game for the big fella.
Yeah, last 4 games coming in, averaging 10 points, 10 rebounds. He's got 8 points so far tonight. Enoch, no. Xavier Johnson attacks, and he draws the foul.
That's where he excels. He is just so shifty, and then he wants to go downhill. Right here, nobody in front, and that's what Coach Mack talked about. We have to put bodies in front of Xavier Johnson. If not, he is just too difficult of a matchup for one person to keep out of the lane.
Johnson, the sophomore from Woodbridge, Virginia, about a half hour outside of DC, and we were telling his story in the first half, and Xavier admits, I put too much pressure on myself coming into this year. And you were talking about what Jeff Capel's message was, and Jeff Capel drew on his own time as a player at Duke.
Yeah, he said, look, my struggle came my senior year. Freshman year, I had a really good year. We were a team that had a lot of success, but I struggled thinking about the pressure of playing at the next level, similar to what Xavier Johnson went through after all freshman team last year. Name thrown out there as a guy that potentially might leave early, and he felt he was just pressing early on in the season. And Jeff Capel talked to him after the West Virginia game, pulled him in the office, they had a chat, and he said, look, of the last 5 games, he has relaxed and just played free without thinking. And a big reason why they've won 5 in a row.
It got a stop. They are down 10 these first 2+ minutes of the second half. Hamilton's feeling good, and he's into double figures with 10.
Put him in the spin cycle. That is a beautiful move. Eric Hamilton showing off the footwork. Shake him at the foul line, spin off him, and then finish with the left. That is a pretty move.
Foul as Wara drove. Tony and Johnson couldn't believe it.
Right here, Eric Hamilton spin, looking like Akeem Olajuwon with the spin. That is pretty right there, and then finish with the left hand. That is great footwork for the 6'9", Eric Hamilton. He made that look easy. Footwork off the charts, but I think the finish is what was impressive with the left hand.
Hamilton started his career at Wichita State. Then he went to UNC Greensboro, sat out a year, played as a rotational piece. Wara off the baseline, out of bounds, has a chance at 3.
What did Jeff Capel say to anybody who's guarding Jordan Wara? You cannot relax. Relax, don't see the ball, and they make you pay. He is just too good of a scorer not to have eyes on him. That time, falling asleep, and the end result, a 3-point play for Jordan Wara.
Remember, it had felt like a slow start offensively for Jordan Wara. Now he's got a dozen. The freshman, Champagnie. Ton of Cardinals on the boards, and a foul called along the baseline. They get Hamilton for a push, his second.
Well, back to your point on Wara, I felt like in that first half, he didn't force anything. He took what the defense gave him. Obviously, he knows he's going to draw a lot of attention, and that allowed those other players, as we talked about, 8 players for Louisville made a 3 in that first half, but I felt a lot of that is him not forcing shots, drawing defense, and then having other guys get open looks.
Yeah, you're right. He's 5 of 8, and he has not turned it over. And he only had 1 turnover against Michigan. Deep one won't drop. Champagnie the rebound. Xavier Johnson into traffic, and a Cardinals foul.
Well, easier said than done to try to get bodies in front of Xavier Johnson, but you can see clearly right there, 3 guys in the paint trying to keep Xavier Johnson out of there. Like I said, easier said than done.
Champagnie draws a foul off the baseline inbounds. That's a couple quick ones on Wara. And Justin Champagnie, the freshman from Brooklyn, to the free throw line. The ACC championship games tomorrow, and we'll have full pregame coverage from Charlotte, Packer, and Durham. Get you started. That's at 4 p.m. Eastern from FanFest. Then the Huddle crew takes you up to game time, of course, Virginia. And third-ranked Clemson. You can always watch on the ESPN app if you're out and about. We've got you covered on Championship Saturday.
Sam Penny has a twin brother, Julian, who's a freshman on the St. John's basketball team. So a very athletic family, and his father, Ramford, also played on St. John's 1996 National Championship soccer team. So athleticism definitely runs in that family, and a future very bright for that young man right there.
His teammate Xavier Johnson just picked up his third foul 3.5 minutes into the second half. So Ryan Murphy back in for the Panthers, playing without Johnson, who's got 11. Good hands by Malik Williams. Threw it away.
That was the best defensive possession of the game for Pitt. Recovery, help side defense, everybody was moving in sync. End result, they came up with a turnover. That's excellent job of team defense by Pitt.
Champagny can't get it to go, and Williams the board. Champagny, a guy a couple games ago, he went for 21 down in Florida against Northwestern. Head fake and kick from Wara for Perry. Great job by Sutton. He grabbed the loose ball, now Wara. Yes! Ryan Murphy is good from 3.
Well, that's the answer that Pitt needed to quiet this crowd. Jeff Capel talked about it all during shoot-around. We must sustain their runs and have an answer.
This Pitt team has not shot it great from 3 this year, and that includes Murphy, who is expected to be their best, perhaps, three-point shooter. Williams steps out. Sutton's just relentless. Nearly pulled down another offensive board. Ball screen for Ryan Murphy. 2 made buckets for Trey McGowan's. Shot clock winding down. Murphy realizes it. Battle on the boards. And it belongs to Louisville. Jordan Wara's up to 15 points straight on. And Louisville has matched a season just about 24 hours ago.
You got it? You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
We asked him today at shoot-around, we said, are you for sure the culprit, or did you find it like that? He had a wry smile, and he said, yeah, me and my wife, the culprits.
And it was right after shoot-around, and we take a look at his wife, and, you know, he's all amped up during shoot-around, and then afterwards we played this video for him. He looks at us with the dry face and said, yeah, I'm the culprit of that one, with a big smile on his face. I'll tell you what, it does not get any better than that right there. That's how you celebrate any award. And I tell you what, if I find out where you live, I think I might have to do that with you. That looks like a lot of fun, but certainly he definitely talked about, you know, what it's been like for him being here, part of this Louisville community, and, you know, obviously things like that, the winning, obviously the success that the football program has had. only helps elevate the overall program, and certainly he's happy for the football team's success.
Corner kick for Adis Toney, and he's got a 3. Seven-point game after Toney's 3rd made 3 of the season. And a foul called. Toney was matched up with Sutton. Will they call a cylinder violation here? Yeah, and they are giving it to Toney. And they will go to the monitor as well.
Ooh, I don't know. Now back in my day when I played, and me and Jeff Capel talked about this, if you got in a guy's space, you were told to get him off with an elbow. But in this day and age right now, that looked like a elbow to the head area, and be interesting to see what the call is.
And for Pitt fans, they remember this just happened earlier this week in the game earlier this week against Rutgers. That's the verticality, the cylinder rule you see explained on the left side of your screen, and you just got word from the officials.
Yeah, it was a foul on the defense, a cylinder, okay, the cylinder rule, which you just put up there, and he said there was nothing with the elbow because it was the cylinder rule. Now, again, I know that's the interpretation of it, but I don't like that right there because you got a guy throwing an elbow.
And out of the stoppage, Louisville coughed it up. They now have double-digit turnovers. Pass by McGowan for Toney, who's been big again tonight for Pitt.
Defensively, he drew the assignment, guarding Jordan Wara, and then offensively, he's been efficient.
Jeff Capel said he's getting back to what he does best now the last 4 games. Good hands by McGowan's, but it went to McMahon. The skip for Sutton. Rebound McGowan's. Pitt can make this a 1-possession game. McGowan's doesn't get the roll, and then an over-the-back foul on Terrell Brown.
Wow, that was a good look for McGowan's. Got into the lane. A ball hung up on the rim right here. Again, nice body control. And the over to back, but missed opportunity for Pitt. But credit them. We talked about it. Having an answer for these runs by Louisville, and defensively, they've cleaned up on the defensive glass, limiting any offensive rebounds for Louisville.
Louisville out of a horns look, up by 5, 8 minutes into the second half. Kick ball on McGowan. Jeff Capel said we've got to withstand runs. They're on one of their own against Chris Mack. After what Pitt did in the first half, they've been much better in the second half.
And that is a big reason why they are right back in this game. Credit them defensively. They've done a nice job on the glass. I think, though, the big number, turnovers. Pitt only has 7 turnovers in this game.
Remember, Xavier Johnson went out of the game when it was 40-30, right around the 16-minute mark when he picked up his 3rd foul. He's back in, and it's a 5-point game until Williamson scores.
Nice looking shot by the impressive freshman. Little jump hook. Not bad, D. That's just a tough shot by the freshman.
Shot clock winding down again on Pitt and Johnson. Working on Kimball. Tough step back. Short. Rebound to the Cardinals. Kimball saves it along the sideline. He finds Wara. Champagny on the baseline.
Well, on the other side, that's great defense by Fresh Kimball. of keeping Xavier Johnson out of the lane, forcing him into a contested 3 with the shot clock winding down.
And now Hamilton and McGowan's both come back for Pitt. Jordan Wara is down. Grabbing that left shoulder. And in a load of pain.
Well, any excitement after the dunk is gone after seeing that sight right there. Swim move, and then, yeah, not much there. It looked like he was just trying to get around Eric Hamilton, who was blocking him out. And again, it didn't look like much contact at all. And you can hear a pin drop in this arena. Obviously, you hope it is nothing serious with Jordan Wara, but again, based on what we saw on the replay, it looked like Wara's just going in for an offensive glass rebound. The referees are going to look at it. It didn't look like there was much there. He's just trying to block him out and went down immediately. So again, not much contact.
The angle we just saw, the officials, you can tell, are now looking at. Here's another look at it.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's just trying to get over. Not much there. Hamilton.
And as you thought, not a whole lot there. And look at Jordan Wara. Chris Mack asking him how he's doing.
Well, when he went to the tunnel, it looked like it was something a little bit more serious. And obviously, it's a good sign he is back out on the bench.
Luke Murray, one of the assistants, just getting word from the training staff. 9-point game. McGowan, he's been off all night.
Well, that's one a possession. If you're Pitt, you want to try to get something going towards the basket. You don't want to settle for a contested 3.
High-low. Great catch by Enoch. Good hands by Tony. Johnson back the other way. And the finish.
That's beautiful body control by Xavier Johnson. Again, avoid the hit. Eyes on the rim the whole time, and that's a big bucket to cut this deficit to 7.
He's got 13, right around his average. McGowan sticks with McMahon. Enoch again. Offensive rebound. Who else but Sutton? Now Williamson. And a foul on Louisville on the rebounding action. It's on Stephen Enoch.
Right here, Champagny blocking out. Xavier Johnson down there. Tough to tell from that angle. Referee in a better position to make that call. And that's a big change of possession for Pitt.
Hamilton wanted it but didn't get it. Johnson a step back. He's got that as well.
That's going to be their offense. Again, shot clock winding down. Louisville doing a nice job denying. You need your star player to step up and get you a bucket. Individual play, beautiful step back jumper by Xavier Johnson.
Man, you think he's feeling good? He's got a little smile on his face as he came back up court, shaking his head. And now they get Tony for a foul. Pitt's bench is in disbelief, and now a technical foul. Ted Valentine has just teed up the Pitt bench.
And I don't, now typically, I have no issue if a coach is going, but that's an assistant coach. I'm not even sure an assistant coach was even doing anything. Jeff Capel, it was not on him. And he went and asked who it was on, and he pointed at one of his assistants, and that is just a really tough break for Pitt in that situation. You're down 5, 8:44 to go, and
well, Tony couldn't believe that he got called for the foul, and then the entire Pitt bench reacted in unison. We'll have another look at it. On an assistant coach, according to Mike Eads. We know how good a free throw shooter Ryan McMahon is. And then it'll be the 1-and-1.
so right here, again, good individual play by Tony. Yeah, right there. Yeah, no, and then that you can't do. Now, from that angle right there, you need to understand who you're dealing with. The one thing I will say about Ted Valentine, and he was reffing games back in my day in the mid-90s. So he looks the same, and you know with him, if you do that to him, you are going to get teed up. So you must know before that, whether you're an assistant or a head coach, especially an assistant coach, he's going to have a shorter fuse with them, and that is a tough break for Pitt.
Now, all that being said, Louisville only got 2 points out of it. Murphy can't answer right back for the Panthers. Told us today he's been struggling shooting from three. He's got a very structured routine that he goes through, but he and his teammates unable to get it going from deep so far.
Yeah, that's a pretty good look.
Perry, a tough step back. Batted around to Johnson. Shut off by Warwick. Driving kick for Champagny. And a push on Hamilton and a foul, his third. Heating up in Louisville #1, and both those wins came in a 1-month span back in 2009. Both times Pitt was #4, both times UConn was #1, and both times Sam Young went off against UConn.
Unbelievable. Right now, though, for Pitt, in order to close this game out and pull off the upset on the road, 3 things are going to have to happen. They're going to have to continue not to turn the ball over. They've done a nice job in that. They leave no turnovers in the second half after 7 in that first half. So they've done a nice job taking care of the ball. And then this guy right here with the ball. Put it in his hands, let him go to work, and then they're going to have to knock down some threes when they double off on Johnson.
It's fresh Kimball on Xavier Johnson. Sutton is on McGowan's. Shot clock winding down. Warren swooped in. And Champagny walked with it.
That's one that he has to let that one go. He's wide open in the corner. Don't think about it. Let that one fly. That's a wide open look. And definitely can ill afford a turnover in that situation.
That's a freshman battling the ups and downs of confidence throughout a season, according to Jeff Capel. Struggled so much earlier this week that after midnight, he was out shooting at the peak. Loose ball, and Pitt secures it. That Louisville drought continues. Hamilton took some contact. No foul underneath. Kimball with a shake. And the follow for Williams. Since the technical foul, all 6 points belong to Louisville. Adi Stoney gets hit for a foul that he didn't like the call, nor did the Pitt bench as well. You see Director of Basketball Operations Brian Reagan as well on the sideline.
And again, I'll go back to this. Whether you like Teddy Valentine or you don't like him, he's consistent. If you do that with him, you're going to get tech. It's not even a question. So you need to know that going into the game. It's like knowing personnel when you're scouting a team. It's the same with a referee. He has been consistent. He's been doing that going back to the mid-90s when I was a player. You knew, don't even try to question the call. If you do, he is going to tee you up. That is a huge blow against Pitt.
And again, the technical was not on Capel. It was on the staff you saw on the sideline.
And it was a 5-point game. As you said, at the 8:44 mark, questionable whether or not that was a foul or not, but then I think what really changed the momentum in this game is the technical foul, and as you said, it's been all Louisville points since then.
Well, 6-0 spurt for the Cardinals. McMahon. Man, he is pure. Picked off. Here's Jordan Wara.
I'd say his shoulder looks pretty good.
Deafening at the Young Center. Back at 30 seconds.
As we take a look, talking about defense, Jordan Wara. One of the areas of the NBA feedback he got was you need to improve your defense. I think he has gotten that message this year. The emphasis on that end and that area of his game, you can see the improvement.
Part of an 11-0 run for Louisville. Coming back the other way.
As a team, all 5 guys are playing connected. Easy call to make right there. A little hip check by McGowans. And as you said, since that 8:44 mark and the tech, it has been all Louisville.
Again, a frustrating night for the sophomore from South Carolina, Trey McGowans, who in the first meeting, when Pitt beat Louisville last year, had 33. Malik Williams has 11 for Louisville.
Well, folks are going to look at this score right now and say, well, it's an 18-point game. It might be, or might have been a blowout. But just 4 minutes ago, this was a 5-point game.
And similar in a lot of ways to the first game you might have seen tonight right here on ACC Network, Virginia Tech hosting Duke. And that was a game where the Hokies led with 11 minutes left in that one. Wow. Kimball navigating, and he draws a foul on Johnson. Man, the Cards can just come at you in a hurry. Remember, it was 47-42.
You think of Stuart Scott, you think of Jim Valvano. His brother, Bob Valvano, the radio voice for this Louisville basketball team. And You know, that's really what is so moving about this, that their legacy continues to live on. All the money and research done to try to battle against this awful, awful thing we know as cancer.
There's Bob, younger brother of the late, great Jim Valvano. He was holding court during halftime with some of the locals here. A couple of misses at the line for Fresh Kimball. Normally a very good free throw shooter. Just under 4 left, and it's 5.5 minutes without points again for Pitt. Remember, that's how they ended the first half as well. Smothering defense for Louisville tonight. Tony has been great for Pitt, dumps it off for Brown.
That's a pretty little dump off pass, change of direction, draw the defender, then nice little dump off pass.
And you think about Tuesday night, Michigan team that only scored 43 points, Pitt with 44. And remember, Michigan in tonight's game, playing against Iowa in Big Ten action, Michigan put up 103, and they were held below 50.
And that's one of the things we talked with Chris Mack about as we take a look, game getting a little chippy. And it's been physical all night. The referees are going to come and talk now.
Adis Tony has fouled out with 3:10 left.
But back to our conversation with Chris Mack, and he said, look, we didn't shoot the ball particularly well against Michigan, but what he was pleased with is the overall team defense. You hold a team like Michigan that came in averaging over 80 points a game to 43 in that game. They were shooting the ball well coming into that game from beyond the arc, and they held them below 20% in that game. And he said, look, sometimes you're going to win ugly. And that's what they did. And look, we know Louisville, they're going to be one of the better offensive teams in terms of efficiency and shooting the ball. But when they get into those games, can their defense hold up? And you know, early on, they're showing they're an excellent defensive team as well, too.
Well, if you go by the adjusted efficiencies, you mentioned the offense, they're doing it with defense as well as another call and a foul against the Panthers. Jeff Capel displeased. But Chris Mack's team, top 5 in the country in adjusted offensive efficiency, adjusted defensive efficiency, according to Ken Pom. And the last 4 teams that have done that, been top 5 in both. They've all been national champions.
Well, you look at teams and you say, all right, well, let's attack their weakness, right? So, all right, well, maybe they don't shoot the ball that well from the perimeter. Well, Louisville, they shoot probably after today's game over 40% from the three-point line. All right, well, maybe we can take away one of their offensive options. Well, we said that in that first half, and I don't think I've ever seen a stat like this. 8 players hit a 3 in the first half. So they have balance. As we take a look at another alley-oop at that time. But the thing that I think makes them really the clear number 1 right now, defensively, there is not weaknesses on one guy. Their bigs do an excellent job hedging on ball screens. Their guards cut down dribble penetration, and then they contest a lot of shots. So, again, hard to find areas of concern against this for this team right now early on.
The lead is swelled to 20. You saw Xavier Johnson foul out as well. So both him and Adis Tony fouled out in a span of 10 seconds of game action. And Jordan Nwora exits with 19 more points tonight. He was ultra efficient. Murphy off the curl now.
And I think that word efficient is key. He did not force things. Remember, in that first half, it wasn't like he was forcing shots. He wasn't searching for shots or taking bad shots. He let the offense come to him. And again, efficient is the best word to describe his performance tonight.
He just went to the end of the bench, chatted briefly with the trainers. A collective sigh of relief when he went down and then came back. Williamson, did he get it off in time? No, he didn't. Shot clock violation. He wanted the highlight.
Now, again, people are going to tune in, and folks that did not watch this game, they're going to look and say, all right, 64-44, it was a cakewalk. This was 8:44 mark, a 5-point game, 47-42. Pitt had all the momentum going in their favor, and then a change of events with the technical foul, and then from there, that's where this score came from. But this game was definitely a lot closer than what this score, the final score, is going to indicate.
Louisville has held Pitt to 2 points in the last 7.5 minutes. It has been remarkable defensively again for the Cardinals. We told you more Louisville hoops action for you next Saturday, noon Eastern. The Cardinals take on Eastern Kentucky. They can fly up and down the court. Still a game in between this one and that one. Madison Square Garden, Texas Tech next week. That'll be a fun one as well. And then ACC Network next Saturday, Eastern Kentucky and Louisville in that in-state matchup.
Well, when you think big picture with Louisville, I think another area we have not talked a lot about is their depth. They have a lot of depth. They have a lot of options coming in off the bench, highlighted by 8 guys making a 3 in the first half. Again, I don't think I've ever called a game or seen a stat like that in the first half, where 8 different players made a 3-pointer.
Now foul called right around 30 seconds to go, or rather a timeout taken by Jeff Capel. Now interesting spot for Jeff Capel here. They had a tough half. He said 1 good half, 1 bad half in the backyard brawl against West Virginia. He took a timeout late in that game, and he told us today he lit into them. And they've responded since then. He took a timeout here in the waning seconds.
And he just lit into him again, and he was unhappy with something. I'm not sure what he was upset about, but obviously very clearly upset. Took a timeout with 29 seconds to go. And again, he knows, look, they showed in this game that they're capable of playing with Louisville, the #1 team in the country. Again, they were right there, a little under 9 minutes in the second half, and it's a 5-point game. But you know, again, he's thinking big picture down the road, getting these guys prepared as they continue to get deeper into ACC conference play.
Yeah, 10 days from now, Pitt will be right here on ACCN hosting Northern Illinois. Then a couple of games against Binghamton and Canisius, and then early January they get back again to ACC action against Wake Forest. Shot clock winding down, and Ryan Murphy with 2. That should just about do it here from the KFC Yum Center. The final 8:44 of this game, Louisville only allowed Pitt to score 4 points. Unbelievable defensive effort again.
Impressive all around. The first half, you have all the threes, but second half, again, that defense for Louisville comes through, and they remain undefeated and still probably the #1 team in college basketball.
Chris Mack's team is 9-0, 2-0 in the ACC. Pitt is 1-1 in conference action and 7-3 overall. Once again, our final score, Louisville 64, the #1 team in the country, Pitt 46. Coming up next, it's Best of Packer and Durham. For Malcolm Huckabee and our entire ACC Network crew, I'm Mike Monaco.